toss, and they want the ball to get it started. Touchdown Kelowna. Part one is underway off the foot of Jude Mikitamni.
Cover that.
Oh, they come in to get it. And who's last to touch it there as it took a hop? Mikitamni with the kick, little shorter, and they discuss this could be Calgary football in the Lions zone right out of the gate.
Well, it was a pooch kick by design from Calgary, no question about that, because it was very accurate in front of the deep returners, but behind that line of blockers, and that's a live ball once it passes 10 yards.
And it is Calgary football. What a start for the Stampeders on special teams.
The ruling on the field is that was last touch by Calgary. First down.
And wouldn't you know it, it's Kalon Thomas, who once played junior football here, jumping in, and then Kaleshi Ayanlabechi, one of them, George Adoko, and it was a Stampeder, the last one to touch the football, heading out of bounds. And so here we go for Vernon Adams.
Previous play is under automatic review by the replay center.
The referee Tim Croker making that announcement. They are going to have the replay center take another look at this to be sure.
You mentioned Kalon Thomas was the first to get to that ball and keep it alive, while the BC Lions almost looked like they were asleep when that hit the ground, that they weren't sure that it was a live ball or not. Thomas got his hands on it. That tips it up in the air, keeps it alive. His teammates get to it. He, of course, played for the Okanagan Sun, so he's played on this field, familiar. I'm sure he's got lots of family and friends in the stands, and he keeps it alive, keeps it going, and now who touched it last? They're reviewing it.
This is assuming a Stampeder touched the football. And so the replay center has reviewed, and this is their decision.
After automatic review by the replay center, it was determined that BC number 11 was the last to touch the ball. It's first down at the 36-yard line.
So not Calgary football. The returner Silas Bolden, it is ruled, was the last one to touch it.
Well, they're lucky to get away with this one because they were late to this party, and going out of bounds, it looked like Bolden just, tough to see from that replay, but looked like Bolden just got a piece of it. And all you have to do is bat it out of bounds. Can't kick it out of bounds or it goes to the other team, but you bat it, it's your ball.
So up at the 36 to begin, scrimmaging the BC Lions. A couple of fakes, and then getting it to James Button. And that pickup around the 44 for BC. Second down ahead.
Got another Okanagan Sun in there at fullback, helping out with a little bit of misdirection on this well-scripted screen pass to get things started here for the BC Lions.
Lions starting their season in Saskatchewan and losing a close one, and then not a close one in Hamilton. Their defense certainly was scrutinized. It's a 2nd and 4. And coming home, if you will, back to the province of BC, looking for that first win of the season, as are the Stamps. 2nd and 4 now. Rourke, play action fake, loads it up deep, and no, falls incomplete. He was looking there for Jermaine Jackson. Delaney Robinson in on the coverage, down deep. It's a 3rd down coming up here for BC.
Not a bad idea, though, for Nathan Rourke to just take a shot down the field. If it's incomplete, your receiver can't run under this, and Jermaine Jackson, you've planted a seed in the minds of the defensive secondary for the Calgary Stampeders. Basically said, we're not afraid to go down the field, back off a little bit. That should open up the underneath route.
The new returner for Calgary, Tyreek McAllister, had a missed field goal return for a touchdown last week against Saskatchewan from Carl Meyer, and McAllister takes it at the 11. Makes a man miss. Up over the 25, he's still in, and he goes out of bounds around the 35, and a good return for McAllister, who was with the Hamilton Tiger Cats his one other CFL season in 2023. So here comes Vernon Adams.
So Vernon Adams, who has played very well, just almost 500 yards passing, has not thrown an interception going back to last year. 118 attempts, has not thrown an interception, so he's eliminated the mistake. And as we mentioned off the top, lost 2 games by a grand total of 5 points.
He's passed for just under 500 yards in the 2 games, and the start is on the ground to one of the top running backs in the CFL, and a gain of 5 for Dietrich Mills.
Always like to look at matchups on the offensive line. William Barnes, 26 years old, out of North Carolina, will play that right tackle. Should see Matthew Betts a ton. The Lions are looking for more production out of their defensive line. And then the leader in this receiving corps for Calgary is Jalen Philpott out of the University of Calgary.
He has 8 catches, 149 yards on 12 targets so far this season. On the second down, after the 5-yard pickup, and they try to go underneath. Adams does for Mills, but not enough on it. It falls short, and a 2-and-out for Calgary.
Yeah, that's about pressure brought out of the gate. And again, this is a point of emphasis all week for the Lions, that they want to, as David Sanchez said in the pregame show, the Lions want to go with 4-man pressure and get out of this blitz package they've been playing in the last two games. Got their secondary in a bit of a bind a couple of times, especially against Hamilton. They need pressure out of 4. They got it there and moved VA off his spot.
Mark Bassett is the punter for Calgary to take the snap from Jason McGugan, who had not snapped it when there was movement along the line, and jumping there, Riley Pickett for the Lions, and the flags come out. And remember, this is a third and a little more than 5 yards.
Yeah, this is short yardage enough that I think Calgary goes ahead and goes for it. I mean, it's
offside.
Probably
BC
6.
Number 45. It's a 5-yard penalty. It remains 3rd down.
So instead of Mark Bassett, that's enough, as you say, Suits, for the short yardage QB Quincy Vaughn and company to head on now in a 3rd and about a foot and a half.
Yeah, that's a freebie first down, really, because we're talking about inches after that early movement and contact made. So you can, if the ball's not snapped, you can get into that neutral zone and jump back out of it if you can do it in time. But if you make contact with the opposition, it's offside.
Quincy Vaughn from Hamilton in his 2nd year out of North Dakota, and 2nd year he's handling the short yardage duties, does plunge ahead, and that penalty's a break for Calgary as they get to continue this drive.
So the Lions so far after 2 games have just 1 sack, that by Matthew Betts, and they're last in the league in pressures. Got to be better there. Some changes now in the nickel position for the Lions. That's going to be Jackson Finley from safety down there. Deontay Williams will go to the boundary halfback because TJ Lee was a last-minute scratch, and Josh Haggerty will start at free safety for Finley.
A beleaguered secondary too, and then losing TJ Lee. See how Vernon Adams tries to test it, but they go on the ground again to Dietrich Mills, and why not? Mills looks like he's got enough for the first down. He has 9 carries of 10+ this season heading into this game, and looked like he picked up 10 yards right there.
Yeah, nice blocking up front. Just the next off-color jersey, just go ahead and slide to your left. Basic zone play off the left side, and leading rusher from a year ago gets another first. 10
yards on the button. That's up just into the Lions territory at their 53. So the opening possession that continued via penalty for the Calgary Stampeders, off to an 0-2 start after a close one. Winnipeg won in a walk-off at McMahon, and then last week we went to overtime against the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who won it. Quincy Vaughn is in too, and in motion as a receiver. Adams looking deep down the right. Contact made before the ball arrives. That's intended for Jalen Philpott, and a flag does come out against BC.
Playing with a rookie on the corner in Tyson Russell.
Pass interference. BC number 26.
And
it's automatic first down.
This has been the issue, especially against the Hamilton Tiger Cats, for Mike Benavides' defense. When you look down here at that corner position, Tyson Russell basically gets just a straight man. He's in great position, but then panics and tackles the receiver. I mean, not surprising when you're a rookie. That's TJ Lee, was a last-minute scratch. That hurts.
So a 1st and 10. Here's Adams. With pressure on, he steps up, has some time. A look into the end zone, but too far. Intended there for one of his top receivers, Eric Brooks. Incomplete, 2nd down.
Just a little off-schedule play for Vernon Adams. The Lions are getting upfield with their front four. Dropping into that zone. Adams has a receiver, but just misses him by a couple of yards.
See how they adjusted the end zones here in Kelowna to get this natural grass field down. The 2nd and 10 at the 20. Little movement on the line for the Lions. And a flag does come out, and it's off to Mills. And a steam, first down and more. Dietrich Mills heading to the end zone. Mentioned the flag is out. It looked like offside for BC. Didn't see a signal as he was heading to the pylon.
Offside.
They did give
BC
a touchdown.
Number 99. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is touchdown.
Touchdown Calgary. A 20-yarder.
Just great composure from Vernon Adams here to, as the pocket breaks down, which it does fairly quickly here, he gets out of there, keeps his eyes up the field, and then quickly notices that his star tailback in Dietrich Mills is open on the edge, and he gives it to him.
Dietrich Mills doing the work again, and yes, they give it to him in the point after, and a 7-0 lead. Micah Tamney, the kicker, filling in for Rene Paredes with the point after. So Dietrich Mills, a receiving touchdown that time, his first of the season, to go along with one he had on the ground. He's been busy. 8 plays, 75 yards, and a 7-0 team for the visitors here in Kelowna. So in a 7-point hole, 3 receivers off to the left, a flag coming out. And on that handoff to James Butler. Will this be going against BC?
Just a few sort of lapse in concentration from the BC Lions early in this game. The kickoff that they allowed to bounce. You know, once it goes 10 yards, it's a live ball. You got to get on that ball. The offside to keep the drive alive for the Calgary Stampeders.
Yeah.
Offside. BC number 84. Penalties declined. 2nd down.
And then that offside penalty.
Yeah, now they're in, you know, 2nd down production. They penalty declined, but this is just a lack of concentration from the Lions to start this game.
And the biggest penalty of all, of course, was the long pass interference, 33-yarder that set up Calgary. They eventually scored the touchdown, hence the 7-point lead here in Kelowna. Nathan Rourke, 2nd down, under pressure, gets it away, and that is Xander Horvath with his first touch of this game. Markel Lee and getting some help here too, but a 3rd down and long coming up here for BC.
You're gonna have to kick it away, and I talked in the pregame show about the new additions and what looks like it's going to be a very strong defensive line for Calgary. Jalen Hutchinson, game 2 at that defensive tackle. Flo Rimolade coming off the edge, his first game of the 26th season. And of course Clarence Hicks.
And it was Kyle Wilson in starting that tackle, helped out by Lee. So the punt, Calgary gets the ball back, a 54-yard punt. Tyreek McAllister weaving his way through, breaking a few tackles as he gets that return up to around the Stampeder 35. Beautiful Kelowna, BC, and part 1 of Touchdown Kelowna. No. 2nd down and 4 after the Brooks catch. Back to Mills, who has the touchdown in this game. Didn't like what he saw inside. He takes it outside. He picks up a few more yards, gets it closer to a first down, but he's still a couple of yards away.
It's a good tackle by Jackson Finley. All eyes on this secondary and sort of linebacking core with all the adjustments, because they've moved Deontay Williams, as we mentioned, to that boundary corner. So Finley is going to now play closer to the line of scrimmage. He's 6'2", 207, so he can play the run as well. He read that one and cut Dietrich Mills off.
But still 2.5 yards away. They won't chance that. Mark Bassett is outstanding inside the Calgary 30. There is Silas Bolden, the one returner back there for BC. First quarter in Kelowna, and a 7-0 Calgary lead A matchup between two teams still looking for their first win of the season. That one's whistled down before the snap of the football.
Timeout violation. Calgary number 15. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
All right, so the Stamps will go a little further back. We were walking on this field, by the way, the suits beforehand. It's just a wonderful job they've done with a beautiful natural grass surface.
Unbelievable, really. And there's been
The time count violation. You saw the special teams coordinator Craig Dickinson not liking that. So Bolden takes it inside the 30 for BC. A 45-yard punt and a good return here up across the 40 as he is tackled there by Quincy Vaughn. Nathan Rourke, 2 for 3 early on, but the Lions still trying to get something going early in this game. Looking for win number 1 in 2026. Minutes to go until quarter time. And still waiting for the Lions offense to get in gear with some heat coming. That one off to Jermaine Jackson. He breaks a tackle. He keeps on going. Good yardage after the catch for Jermaine Jackson, who takes it into the Stampeders zone inside their 45.
with Jalen Hutchings back for Calgary and Flo Rimalotti playing his first game, don't be surprised at all to see a lot of this from Nathan Rourke, which is just a quick game, get it out of his hands quickly, don't let that pass rush get home.
And they work tempo, underway right now, and off to the right, quickly for Butler and a bit too far. And it was Kyle Wilson in on the coverage there, not quite, second down.
Starting offense for the Lions, Joshua Donovan will play for Brandon Yates at left guard. That's one change up front due to injury. Keon Hatcher and Justin McInnes are back. There were question marks there, but Nick Cynical stepped up in his first game against Hamilton, over 100 yards. Interesting story out of Montreal.
Sure is. Played his college ball at Hawaii, but talk about taking advantage of a chance with all those injuries. What a game he had. A couple of touchdowns against the Ticats. 2nd and 10, off to the right again, and it's caught Keon Hatcher. Well, they're glad to have him back in the lineup after missing last week in Hamilton and a big first down. And a flag is out as well. And it looks to be going against Calgary.
No question. Happy to get Hatcher back.
10-yard misconduct penalty. Calgary number 1. At 10 yards to the end of the play, it's first down.
Clarence Hicks, their defensive end, flagged for that after the completion from Rourke to Hatcher.
We haven't given much love to Clarence Hicks, who has all the Calgary sacks after 2 games in the season.
Flag for something there. 4:46 in the clock and counting. Best possession for BC so far in this one. Late first quarter. The fake. The throw rolling right. It's intercepted. Picked up by Zy Alexander, who got the teammates together in this field and winning a championship.
Jacob Bond has 30 tickets.
Wow.
And he needed for this one. Back to his home stomping ground.
Right now his team's in a hole, but you saw the deflection at the line to force a second down here with some heat coming on Adams. They've got him down deep. Matthew Betts adding to his sack totals. Last year's defensive player of the year for a second time, and BC will have to kick it away from the red zone.
They're going to let, at times, Mike Benavides, the defensive coordinator, will let Matthew Betts move around. This time he's going to move around and then hit the backside A gap. That's between the center and the guard, and he does it because he wants to get, in fact, he goes all the way around to B, and he wants to let him have a little more freedom to get to that quarterback, and he gets home his second on the season.
And Mark Bassett pushed well inside the Calgary zone, end zone. And in fact, Silas Bolton is standing at midfield to get this one from Bassett. It's a beautiful punt. He is the backpedal to about his 47, 59-yard punt. And there's James Butler. Let's see if the Lions, they got things moving. Suits, as they got down until the interception, they had been moving. Butler again, and they have a great place to start.
Well, let's get to that, Stamps D. Jalen Hutchings back. This is game 2 for him, and Flo Rimalotti First game for him. He's been cleared medically a while ago, but they wanted to be sure with an Achilles injury, and he's ready to go. Markel Lee leads the team in defensive plays from the middle linebacker spot, and Zai Alexander already with an interception. The rookie playing the boundary halfback.
2nd and 3, back to Butler. No, they stand him up at the 40 and no further. So we see the D-line with a little bit of support as well. There's Folarin Arimolade, who last played in early September, tore his Achilles against the Edmonton Elks just after Labor Day, and his first game back. Jalen Hutchins, who had such a great rookie year in the middle of that Stamps D-line in 2025.
Just an offensive play record. I mean, he's got that combination of power, size, and quick feet. He can collapse the pocket from the middle and let those two ends have at it.
Standing under center is Xander Horvath. Short yardage. He has to get that couple of yards. He got that and then some. Good work by Horvath against Calgary's D to pick up the couple of yards necessary to move the sticks.
So that's the challenge for Buck Pearson, calling these plays with that defensive line. We've seen a little quick game from Nathan Rourke that's been successful. Want to keep the run in there, so guys like Flo Arimolade and Clarence Hicks will take a peek to James Butler or Horvath first before getting into their pass rush mode and try to control that man, number 95.
Down to the 38 of Calgary. Lions moving into the stamp zone. Something going here in a play action pass coming from Rourke. No, met right away as McInnes. Anthony Johnson timing that up and making contact just as McInnes was going up for the ball.
Good timing, but this ball was high, and that's saying something when it's Justin McInnes. Justin McInnes stands 6'4" and has one of the best catch radiuses in the league. I mean, he's got those long arms. That one a bit of high and inside. You know that Nathan Rourke would like that back.
2nd and 10 from the 38 should be the last play of the first quarter. Three to the right, looking off to the left, and in traffic too. Labeshi is there, Johnson too, and McInnes wanted a flag, and there is one out on the field. Coming in to enjoy watching this one, and Nathan Rourke starts the second quarter with a catch for McInnes, and he spins around and just inside the 15, but there's a first down for BC, getting very close to getting their first points on the board.
Yeah, they just have to clean up a little bit of those details and get back to the rhythm of running the offense. Again, moving the pocket, moving the launch point for Nathan Rourke is respect for that defensive line in Calgary.
13-yard pickup for BC. And inside the 15, but the 14-yard line now in a 1st and 10. First meeting of the season between the Lions and the Stampeders, who met in the playoffs last year, familiar playoff opponents in recent times. 4-man rush. Rourke, he checks it down to Xander Horvath. And a steam touchdown BC.
Due to the injury bug hitting the Lions early in the receiving corps, Barry Hill out, Javon Catoy out. The Lions are going to go with a lot more two-back. That's James Butler out of the backfield, and that's Horvath. So they're going to go with two tailbacks throughout this game more than they normally will, and this time it's a little flare route from Horvath that gets outside, and then he outruns a good tackler and Derek Moncrief with that nice cutback. And single point away from tying this game.
Xander Horvath in his second year out of Purdue, who really introduced himself to the league with a big game at McMahon Stadium in Calgary with a long run for a touchdown. But they've used him, you're right, to spell James Butler, but he's made an impact, and we did see him in short yardage as well.
Right, well, spell James Butler is his normal role, but again, because of inexperience in the receiving corps, why not go to more of a two-back offense? Doesn't mean you don't stop throwing the football like we see in this example of this touchdown, but you got two great backs that can catch it out of the backfield. They'll block for each other. I asked James Butler this week about the two-back set, and if we'd see more, he said, yeah, you probably will, and I can't wait. They're great friends with mutual respect. They support each other.
So a tie ball game at 7s here in touchdown Kelowna, and Lions, after a shaky start to this game, must be feeling a little better about things now. Buck Pierce, second year back in BC, and Vernon Adams Jr. firing them up, waiting to get back on the field.
Most important play in football is the next play.
Always.
That's what he's thinking. Don't worry about that. We'll get it back.
Well, less of a strange feeling, I'm sure, for Adams, the former Lion, going against his old team. This is his second year in Calgary. Threw for over 4,000 yards with the Stamps last year. Best season in 23, starting with BC. Calgary football. Tyreek McAllister finds an opening. Good return, McAllister. Up across midfield. An explosive player. We saw that with the Ticats back in 2023. Went away to the NFL. This is first year back at a 39-yard return.
Well, Calgary lost that double overtime game to Saskatchewan, and he had that 120-yard missed field goal return that really brought Calgary back into it and made it a game. I mean, it went to double overtime. It was his big return, and every time he's touched the ball here tonight, it feels like he's going to break it.
I remember having that feeling when he was with the Ticats. I was surprised to see he only had one return touchdown with Hamilton 3 years ago, and that also was on a missed field goal, but he could be a game breaker. Calgary football, tie ball game. Dedrick Mills, who scored the Stamps touchdown, and gets some help as he keeps pushing his way inside the Lions 50.
Christopher Fortin just continued to road grade along that offensive line, get his running back a couple extra yards. Playing center, took over for Bryce Bell, who is on the roster and dressed. This offensive line, good veteran group that's played together now for a couple of years in front of Vernon Adams.
Last year was a real resurgence for the Stamps, who had missed the playoffs before and had a really good start. Finished up in third in the West, losing to the Lions last November. Adams, and he throws that one down low. Closest to it was Dejon Brissett, but he was facing some heat, and we get a third down coming up here for Calgary.
Yep, facing the heat right after we talk about an offensive line that's played together a little bit. The concern for BC has been their D-line. And that battle in the trenches we've been watching closely, and if there's been one glaring improvement from the first two games for the Lions to this one, is consistent pressure in the first quarter and the early part of this second quarter on Vernon Adams from four-man pressure from the Lions.
Third straight 2-and-out for this Calgary offense, but they are trying a field goal right now, a 56-yard try for Jude Micatemne. Part two of Touchdown Kelowna will be against the 3-0 Edmonton Elks next Saturday. Rourke throwing, first down, coming back, getting it at midfield. That's Keon Hatcher with another catch and another 15-yard gain.
This is why Keon Hatcher, the leading receiver from a year ago, is so important. It's the little details that now the Lions are starting to get a hold of. He's going to run this, but watch at the top of the route where he comes back and then reaches back. He's not sure where that DB is behind him, so he makes sure he comes back to the football, reaches out, catches it with his hands for a big gain.
Couple of catches for 30 yards now for last year's receiving leader in the Canadian Football League, Keon Hatcher. Right at midfield. First down, back to Butler, finds some room. Miles Brown gets a wrap on him, but hauls him down after a 5-yard pickup.
Speaking of playing against teams you've had success with, or against, when you're looking at the Calgary Stampeders.
Not bad numbers.
Pretty good numbers for Keon Hatcher against this. You know, and talking to Dave Dickinson this week, he said he wants to see his secondary play better as well on defense, and that's why they've moved Damon Webb back to safety, his familiar spot, and Zy Alexander's playing that boundary halfback. 2nd
and 5 now. Flag is out. Pass is caught. That is Hergy Mayala with his first with the BC Lions. He'd been on the practice roster, but with all the injuries, got activated for this game, originally drafted by the Calgary Stampeders back in 2019.
Might be early movement from Markel Lee, who
Offside, Calgary number 8. Penalty declined as the gain is greater. It's first down.
he tried to bait Nathan Rourke into thinking that he was going to come on the blitz, or at least a stunt. He's up at the line of scrimmage and right there, and he jumps into the neutral zone on the snap of the ball.
And Hergy Mayala with the Argos last year at only 3 catches for 40 yards. He's got his first one with the Lions. Good enough for 13 and a first down. At the Calgary 38, Rourke to work again to the left. Caught again. Xander Horvath. And he breaks loose for another first down. They have an impressive drive going here now, but a flag does come out back near the Lions backfield.
Yeah, back where Nathan Rourke was standing in the pocket. Not sure if it's holding against the Lions or was there any contact made.
Looks against BC. They're moving back.
They are moving back.
Holding BC number 60. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Dejon Allen playing that right tackle.
BC 50.
Clarence Hicks.
As you mentioned,
no contact. I know he was right by Nathan Rourke when that flag came out, but there's clearly holding there.
Hicks has been the sack star for Calgary so far, as you talked about. He's got all 3 of them coming into this game. So that pushes them back now on a 1st and 16. Rourke. Oh, pressure. Speaking of sacks, Charles Wiley moving in to get in on the act now, as all of a sudden the Lions are moving backwards.
Yeah, Charles Wiley is going to get in the rotation with Jalen Hutchings coming out every now and then just to make sure that they ease them back from their injuries. I'm talking about Arimolade and Hutchings. I don't want them to play every play on defense just yet. That's just a great bull rush. And little country. Was that Friends in Low Places?
We'll say it is.
Looked like he was starting with the A chord. It looked like.
Again, just like wine in Kelowna, I know where your mind goes. You see, think of music too. Rourke. Oh, nearly intercepted. Closest target down there is Mayala, but that's Jaden Grant, and just fell a little bit low. But again, that Calgary D line, they're getting some heat on Nathan Rourke.
Yeah, Miles Brown, and we haven't mentioned playing at D tackle as well. He's going to be very close, and a smart play by Miles Brown to kind of let up as he gets close to the lower part of Nathan Rourke's body. Doesn't want to get called for the low hit there, so he kind of lets up, and his arm that did make contact was above the knee.
So just 1 sack registered. That one we just saw before by Charles Wiley, but the heat from Brown, and yeah, Calgary's defense, we talked about in the pregame show, they've been very good at getting pressure on Nathan Rourke, even in that playoff loss last year, and kept him on his toes.
You know, Bob Slowick last year used to run those 3 guys with Flo Rimolade in that first quick step. His first step off the line of scrimmage for Rimolade reminds me of Cameron Wake. And that's saying something, because he was maybe the best I've seen off the edge.
No, they did not, but very competitive, very close, and looking to change things around, as is BC today. Adams. That's off to Mills. Betts on him, but not before another good pickup by Diedrich Mills across midfield and close to another first down. Well, yeah, the schedule ahead. So they've got this one in Kelowna, and then they've got the Argonauts and the Owls a couple of times too. Stampede Bowl is just coming up against the Toronto team that just beat the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Well, that's why this team, there's so much urgency for both these teams to get that W, and that's 2 0-2 teams. The Lions are looking at Edmonton next, that have started 3-0, as you've mentioned. They don't want to look at 0-4 to start the season, either of these teams.
Spotted back at the 53, so a 2nd and 3. Adams throwing, looking deep for McAllister. They put him out there on offense, and just a bit too far. 3rd down ahead. Yeah,
they'll move him out, you know, in the offense in different spots. And here he's in that short side of the field, in the slot. And usually when they put him out there, you're thinking from a defensive point of view, you're thinking bubble screen, stuff like that, plays like that, where they get him the ball quickly and let him use his elusiveness down the field. That was just a straight go route, and Vernon missed him, faded him away to the outside a little bit too far.
Mark Vassett in to punt, just a little too far. Now they got a 57-yard field goal last time, a little further back. So Vassett to punt it, and Silas Bolden to field it, although it takes a hop and a roll, and no chance for Bolden as it rolls out of bounds just inside the 15. 39-yard.
You know, I asked him about one of the young guys, Nick Senecal. How was he able to get the number of targets that he got in the last game? 12 targets, 9 catches, 120 yards. He said it's because he was in the right spots, and he is having trust issues at times, particularly in the red zone, making sure guys are where they need to be, and it has led to some hesitation.
Absolutely, Farhan. We certainly saw that in Hamilton. All the injuries, he throws there. He just leads James Butler, who dives and brings it down for a 4-yard pickup. Second down ahead.
It's a heck of a catch.
Sure is. For Butler. Lions are 2 for 6 on second downs now. Rourke again. That's caught by Hatcher. Big one, Keon Hatcher. Third catch for him, up around midfield, and the biggest one for the Lions today.
Nathan Rourke had to pay full retail for this throw. He's going to get hit as he delivers, and this is the chemistry that Farhan was talking about, and he's had it for a long time with Keon Hatcher. He gets hit, pulled to the ground, and Rimolade working hard off the edge. 39-yard gain because that ball was put right where it had to be.
And gets it into the Stampeders side of the field at the Calgary 53 now, and that 39-yarder. The Keon Hatcher Rourke is 10 of 15 for 144 and a touchdown and a pick. Back to Butler on the ground. No, he throws it and completes it.
I was with you.
I was going to say, I was biting on that one too.
I was with you, partner. I think the whole broadcast booth was trying to stop the run there. At least talking about it. What a great play fake, though, inside to little RPO action for Nathan Rourke and throwing against the flow, against the grain.
Yeah.
Great play fake, and that Calgary defense bit as well.
Yeah. I'd be trying to tackle Butler there.
I'm gonna sprinkle on Butler if you're thinking.
Here we go. Double pass. Back to Rourke from Hatcher's going to take off with it. And Nathan Rourke can run. And he's still running inside the 20 and down to about the 16 before tackled by Kyle Wilson. So it was shaping up to be a double pass over to Hatcher, who just gave it right back to him. And a 21-yard reception there for Nathan Rourke.
The Kelowna crowd loves this one. So ball throw behind the line and back to Hatcher. He's allowed to throw it again. And there was no question it was coming back to Nathan Rourke. He did have a deep receiver, but it was James Butler running down the middle of the field, and Rourke's getting excited, trying to get the crowd with him.
He's figuring in 2 stats right now in the passing game. The ones he's thrown and that one he caught. 1 for 21 for Nathan Rourke. And the Lions in business, pressing deep. Down inside the 20. In the red zone they are. Trailing by 3. Pressing for more. Taking to Butler and throwing it to Jermaine Jackson. Oh, keeps his feet and scores another Lions touchdown. What an effort by Jackson.
Another RPO, one pass option with blocking coming down this way. Watch the play fake to James Butler. That freezes the linebacking core, starting with Mikel Lee. And that opens up Jermaine Jackson in behind him. That's a couple RPOs on this drive. Not to mention the double reverse throw back to Nathan Rourke. Or Buck Pierce going way deep in that playbook.
He sure is. You can tell with the expression of Rourke, that's more like it. This is what they've been waiting to see as the offense starts to open things up here now. And for the first time in this game here in touchdown Kelowna with Sean White in the point after the home side in BC. The Lions have the 14-10 lead with 3:43 on the clock before halftime.
Football, even though this is at the professional level, has still got to be fun. You still got to have a ton of fun. And in this drive, Buck Pierce, I think, was trying to send that signal to his team, to his offense, that, hey, we're going to call some plays that we worked on all week and maybe all year since training camp, like this one. Double pass. And how about Keon Hatcher with the Oscar as he turns to look like he might throw it down the field and then goes back to Rourke. He gets down inside the 20. RPO action to Jermaine Jackson. And he's in the end zone, and all of a sudden the Lions are having fun.
I just wonder how many more yards Jackson could have got. Just barely balancing, holding the ball in one hand, and just got to get to the end zone.
Well, that's a low center of gravity.
It sure is. Great effort by Jackson, just trying to squeak out another couple of yards to get pay dirt, and he does. And again, Jackson getting a shot in that offense, too, with all those injuries we talked about in the receiving corps of the BC Lions. His second year out of Idaho. He had 3 catches last week. Big one for a touchdown there. Lions lead. Meyer kicks off. This is coming down to McAllister, just inside his 20. Tyreek McAllister, and is tackled there, just across the 35. Little rough stuff, and a flag coming out afterwards as Parker McKenna got pushed down by a Stampeder.
Is that a little retaliation from the Stamps? Or is it the initial hit?
Well, the flag came out after McAllister was down.
It was late, wasn't it?
After the play, 15-yard misconduct foul against Calgary number 47. This is unrestricted. First down, Calgary.
Announced by Tim Croker. That's George Adoko getting tied up there with Parker McKenna.
I didn't realize
Oh, that's the push. McKenna, a little bit of acting himself there on the way to the ground and flailing his arms a little bit. It is FIFA, and there's soccer going on in the lower main.
All in the salesmanship. Adams looked like he was going to get rid of it. Instead, he takes off. Brings it down and ends up with a good pickup across the 30.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we haven't seen more of this from both quarterbacks. Because you know both these quarterbacks can do this effectively. More than effectively, they're great at it. And you know, when your back's against the wall, you're 0-2. Neither of these teams, we talked about it at length, want to start 0-3 to the season.
This is the 3-minute warning.
Thought we may see a little more running from the quarterback position as they kind of do whatever it takes to try and get the W.
Out in the league, looking for a date with Kate, and I think Leo just
he blew it.
Blew his chance. Kate the panel, though, thoughts on this one, and maybe on that too, coming up at halftime.
And enjoying some nice Okanagan wine.
Yes,
too.
We noticed that as well.
Yeah.
Quincy Vaughn, short yardage to keep this drive going late in the first half. And that is the first down this quarter for the Calgary Stampeders.
Yeah, you know, and I think they may have gone away a little bit from Dedrick Mills, especially on first down. They, you know, first quarter we saw a steady dose. In fact, it was Mills on a little swing pass off script that VA hit him for the touchdown for the Stamps. See if they make these adjustments in this drive.
Stampeders trying to get their lead back before halftime. Outside the 30, dumping it off to Eric Brooks, and he hangs on. He went down though and had to get back up untouched and picks up a few more yards.
Yeah, so first down, and it starts out like basically play action to Dedrick Mills here because they want to hold the Lions defense, don't let them get too wide. And if not for the stumble, that might have been his 8-9 yard gain right there.
He had some space, did Eric Brooks. That across the 36 now, and a second down after that 4-yard pickup. 2:20 in the clock and counting. Calgary down 4. Adams running out of time, under pressure, throws it and completes it to Clark Barnes.
Oh, what a throw.
Was it ever? And Barnes' first catch of touchdown Kelowna.
Now he makes this look easy, but I'm telling you, move it to your left like this, a right-handed quarterback, and watch Vernon Adams in trouble here and just sling it, running backwards, falling away from Clark Barnes. He knows he's a fly and die, or just dying on the sideline in the zone look, But that throw, moving aside, it made it look easy. It's anything but.
A great play by Vernon Adams, up now at the 46. 2:06 on the clock. First down, Calgary. And underneath the Mills, who takes it, gets a head of steam going, and another good pickup with a late flag coming out as well as he gets it to the Lions 50.
That's going to be a face mask on Ben Hladek, I believe, on the tackle, and it just seems like good things happen for Calgary when Dedrick Mills gets his hands on the ball. It doesn't matter if it's handed off to him or
Major foul, face mask, BC number 46, up 15 yards from the end of the play, and it's first down.
Ben Hladek, who played his high school football in Vernon, BC, which is only about 50 kilometers away from here, away from Kelowna. 70 tickets he needed for this one.
70 for him.
Yeah.
Talked about Kalon Thomas and Jacob Bonds having played here in Kelowna. And a capacity crowd. They added a lot of seats for this one, but another costly penalty for the Lions. It's all the way down to the BC 35. Just under 2 minutes to go till halftime. Quickly to Barnes. And he gets some space. Good little stiff arm to free him up to get down to the 20. A 15-yard pickup for Barnes.
Talked about this being the rematch of that semifinal last year, and how about the game for Clark Barnes in that one? Over 100 yards. I thought that basically a breakout game for him. I mean, this is year 3. It's about then when receivers, especially Canadian receivers, kind of find their footing. I think the sky's the limit for Clark Barnes. Second game this year. He missed the first one due to his injury.
In his 4th year at Guelph. Well, here's Adams again underneath the Philpott. Jalen Philpott with his first catch of this game, and it gets them down near the 5. It's a 1st and goal coming up here for Calgary.
That leading receiver, Philpott, who was just going to sit down in the RPO look. We saw Nathan Rourke do this twice in the BC touchdown drive. He pulls Jackson Finley. That flat route pulls him outside, and that opens up the curl.
His first catch of this game, his 9th of the season. And this one is Calgary knocking at the door. 1st and goal. Adams faking and tossing it to Brooks, who was open, but just a bit too far. Could have been a Calgary touchdown.
We've all done this where you have a wide open guy and you aim the ball rather than just let it go. And I think that's what VA looked like. Because he immediately looked like, I aimed it. He's wide open. I mean, he walks in.
Knew it right away. 2nd and goal. 1:14. Can Calgary retake their lead for halftime? Adams to the end zone. Touchdown! Jalen Philpott with his first touchdown of the season on his 2nd catch of this drive. And Calgary answers right back.
Lots of Calgary fans here, by the way. It's a pretty quick flight from Calgary to get over to Kelowna. And a really important drive inside of the 3-minute warning to retake the lead. Here's the end of it on the post. Then changes in the secondary with Josh Haggerty playing safety. A little late to get there on that post route. I think this drive was saved, though, when that throw by Vernon Adams way back at the beginning of it.
Rolling out, as you say, right-handed quarterback, and rolling out to his left, a tough throw to help keep things going here. An impressive drive, capped off by that one from Adams to Philpott. 7 plays, 89 yards, and 2.5 minutes, and a terrific response. Both of these offenses have something going here in this 2nd quarter now.
Well, and there's a 1:02 left.
Yeah.
In the first half. Let's take a look and go back to show you that this drive from the beginning. Little stumble there from Brooks. Got it started. He got about 3 there. But the key throw was on 2nd down. When Vernon Adams is flushed out of the pocket, throws going the wrong way, keeps the drive alive, and that's how it ends.
And a couple of passes to Philpott. One down at the 5 to set up goal to go, and then he gets the touchdown, grab his first touchdown of this season. Good season for the Philpott, certainly for twin brother Tyson as well with the Alouettes. 1:02 on the clock. Silas Bolden going back, and maybe the scoring is not done yet before halftime. See what Nathan Rourke has in store.
Hey, correct me if I'm wrong. Tyson Philpott was leading the league coming into this week.
I believe you're correct. Great start.
Jalen catching up.
Bolden on the return. Ball's out. And could the Stampeders have a shot to add to the scoring now? Indeed, on the fumble by Bolden, a flag comes out. A player still down for the Stamps. They had good coverage. It was Ben LaBrosse coming in to force that fumble on Silas Bolden.
All turnovers are
Return holding. Calgary number 31. Penalties decline. It's first down.
He said Calgary. I think he meant BC.
Yeah, I think he meant BC on the holding call.
Sorry, BC 31.
There you go.
Penalties decline. BC 31.
Yeah, that ball is clearly out.
Silas Bolden, and hit hard there by Jackson Sombach, who forced the ball out, and Ben LaBrosse. A couple of good Calgary special teamers.
Good for Jackson Sombach. I mean, he started the year at free safety, and with the secondary last week, talking to Dickinson, saying he wanted to make some adjustments there and move Damon Webb back to safety. That meant Sombach went to the special teams and became the backup defensive back. And of course, Zy Alexander playing the boundary halfback where Webb was playing. So, you know, a player has a choice at that moment. Demoted from the defense. Do I pout about it, or do I do the best I can on the teams? And that was a fumble created by Jackson Sombach.
Forcing a big turnover, by the way. Another backup defensive back, Ashton Miller-Melanson, was the injured player. The rookie out of Queens taken off. So here we go. Stampeders may not be done. They're up by 3. They get the turnover starting inside the 35 of BC. Adams open, caught down inside the 15, and that's Eric Brooks. Found a little pocket to wait for that ball, and here come the Stampeders. "21-yard gain, 44 seconds to go until halftime."
On the line of scrimmage, Eric Brooks. It's that deep out route.
Down to the 13, 34 seconds. Trying for the end zone again, and that one is caught just inside the 10. That's Russell and the tackle of Tevin Jones with his first catch of this game.
Well, the playbook's pretty much wide open for Vernon Adams here. They want to make sure they're efficient time-wise, but
down to the 10 after a gain of 3. Second down and 7. Toss down at the 5. It is caught. It is Mills. It was a bit high. Haladic in on the tackle. Still not a first down. A 3rd and short coming up here.
Leaving the offense out there. Not surprised inside the 5. Dave Dickinson's thinking about it.
Here we go. 3rd down and 1. Quincy Vaughn. And gets the first down. Excuse me, that's Vernon Adams who stayed in, not the short yardage quarterback. Adams on the carry. And looks like he has enough for the first.
Yeah, it didn't look like even the defensive line or linebacking corps, certainly for the Lions, was alert to the fact that they were about to snap the ball. I think they might have been waiting for that substitution.
So we got a 1st and goal, 14 seconds until halftime. Calgary just went ahead by 3. Chance for more now to Mills, to the goal line, not in. Down to the 1. 8 seconds until halftime.
Timeout, Calgary.
Calgary will call the timeout. Put the short yardage group in there.
Ben Hladek on the tackle.
The one play that you go back to is that catch by Dedrick Mills right around the 10-yard line when Vernon Adams was in trouble. He reached up. If he doesn't catch that, it's intercepted. It's going the other way. He had to tip it to himself. That kept the drive alive, and now they're on the doorstep.
BC defense needing a stand. A 3-point game. Calgary's looking to open it up now. Take advantage of that turnover on the kick return. Stamps led 7-0. BC came back. Calgary led again. Now it's Quincy Vaughn in. Second and goal. Vaughn diving. Awaiting the signal of a touchdown. Calgary touchdown. Increasing the lead on Quincy Vaughn's 4th rushing TD of the season.
Well, Calgary Stampeders, who drive the field inside of 3 minutes to take the lead and then add to it by taking advantage of a Lion turnover. And I don't think there's any question he crossed. Look at the official jumping right in there, getting in there. Let's go. Let's get out of the way. I gotta. Yep.
Big body of Quincy Vaughn, yeah, lunging it across and just needed to break the front plane, get the ball to break the front plane of that goal line. And there's a fired up quarterback for the Calgary Stampeders, Vernon Adams Jr. 6 plays, 34 yards after the fumble on the kickoff by BC. Point after, Mika Tamny. And we got a 24-14 Calgary lead all of a sudden with just 3 ticks left until they head off to the dressing room.
Yeah, no, I correct me if I'm wrong, but the Lions won the toss.
They did.
And took the ball. So Calgary should get the ball to start the third quarter, second half. Can add to it with a nice drive to start it.
And that was on a possession that obviously they weren't expecting until that good hit by Sombach to force the fumble picked up by LaBrosse. So Kate and Enoch and Milt and Chezzy love to see the panel traveling, and they love being here in beautiful Kelowna, BC. And then I have a lot to talk about this half, and maybe a little bit to talk about Leo the mascot too.
Yeah, I didn't
got to get that story.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll be on the panel at all or no. He's done. He's done. He's out.
Mascots don't say anything.
Long gone.
Kate would not have him on now anyway.
No. So you're saying that Gaynor might still be in the picture?
I don't know. I'm wondering if Gaynor's watching.
Okay. Well.
Kind of heartbroken at the same time. Here are the Lions on the return. Bolden again. He's hit hard. Good coverage on kickoff by this Calgary Stampeder team as they stop him in his tracks. Hangs on to the football and
yeah, a handful of those mistakes that Keon Hatcher talked about. They got to clean up the details and take care of those details and play some ball.
And remember, they won the toss and wanted the ball for the first half, so Calgary got the lead late and gets the football too. Carl Meyer with the kickoff. Tyreek McAllister back there with Ludwig Choquette. McAllister gets it just outside his 20. Second half underway at the Apple Bowl as McAllister's tackled there by Riley Pickett. The passing yards, as mentioned, 124 for Adams. They start on the ground in the second half, and Mills has had a good first half. The veteran middle linebacker Darnell Sankey, a little chat with Mills after he tackled him.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean you abandon the run altogether, or else play action doesn't matter anymore. But I agree. Just the secondary for BC with the changes back there and moving Jackson Finley up to the linebacking core, essentially, the nickel spot, they call it.
Now that said, that was 5 more yards for Mills, who now has 26. He does have 46 yards receiving. They used him in the passing game and just done short passes, and he scored the touchdown to start things off. And he's carrying the football again on a 2nd down and 5. And he's trying to push his way along, still well shy of a first down, however. We'll give him 3 yards there, and a 3rd down coming up.
Some of those run plays too, keep in mind when they're in the RPO type of action, It's the decision of the quarterback. And based on the way Vernon Adams was walking off the field there, I would suggest he probably looked at that again and went, you know what, I should have pulled that one.
Should have listened to Milt. Yeah. Their fourth 2 and out of this game. Mark Bassett is back inside his 35 to punt it away. And the Aussie sends this one where Bolden will have to take it off the hop around his 5. Looked like Bolden thought that might be going out of bounds. He gets the bump from his teammate Parker McKenna before he gets tackled, and the Lions will start fairly deep in their zone with Nathan Rourke. 12 for 17, 176, but some mistakes that you talked about, Suits.
Well, there was an offside to keep that drive alive, and then that pass interference call. Those were 2 little ones. Then in the red zone, Nathan Rourke throws an interception. There's an offside. Kept Calgary on the field. A shanked punt that goes out of bounds, giving them really good field position, the Stampeders. And then inside of 3 minutes after the Stamps had just driven the field to take the lead, they get the ball again because of the fumble.
2 turnovers. One of them took points off the board. The other one led to a Calgary touchdown. Here's Rourke to start the second half. Checking it down underneath to Butler. And he gets 2, maybe 3 yards on that play.
Now with these 2 quarterbacks, 10 points is nothing. Buck Pierce knows that. It really isn't. It goes back and forth. Think back to that semifinal.
Yeah, they had a 13-point lead late third quarter. Calgary came back. I think 2 to start. Saskatchewan had the lead in week 1 or week 2, and that was the opener for both of those teams. BC came back before the Riders broke their hearts again, but not as close in Hamilton last week. 4-man rush, Rourke with time, goes deep, and it is caught again. Keon Hatcher with another big one. He had a 39-yard reception in the first half, and that's another long one to put them into the Calgary zone down to the Stampeder 51.
Veteran receivers like Keon Hatcher, they don't have a tell when the ball is going to arrive. They just keep running, they run their post, and then the ball surprises the DB.
He is over 100 yards receiving. And a little more there for Jermaine Jackson, who scored a touchdown in the first half. And another first down, 2 passing plays, and very quickly, the Lions offense moving deeper in the Stamp zone. That one to Hatcher was 38. That one was 21. Faking to Butler, dumping it off for Justin McInnes, who was injured last week, lower body injury, but healthy enough to play in this one as he takes it down to the 20, and 11 more yards for the Lions offense.
Yeah, different look. Usually that is James Butler coming out of the backfield, but a little cross buck action with James Butler going the opposite direction, trying to freeze the linebackers and shooting McInnes out into the flat.
So back into the red zone. This is exactly what the Lions need after that momentum shift for Calgary late in the first half.
Needed the stop on D to get things started. Got that. Now can they finish it?
And this is for Rourke, second straight very impressive drive for the BC offense. Butler carrying Arimilade down at the shoe tops, and does get him tackled after he picks up a few more yards down closer to the 15.
Yeah, you got to believe with that D line and with Hutchings in the middle too, and the rotation of Charles Wiley, who's made some plays, it's going to be tough to run in this area for BC. Not much room in there, is there?
Not a whole lot, especially when you got Jalen Hutchings there.
He kind of blocked 2 gaps.
One of the stars in the CFL, defensive tackle, a rookie last year, and injured and missed their first game, but came back last week. That overtime loss against Saskatchewan. Big 96, 2nd and 7. Rourke under pressure, and down he goes, and look who gets him.
On cue.
Jalen Hutchings with a little help from his friend Clarence Hicks. But it's Hutchings who gets the sacks. He said that to us a few days ago, Suits. He wants to get in on the sack act.
Well, that first game back, he had 3 defensive tackles, and you know, with the tackles, he was just trying to ease his way back into the lineup because of that hamstring injury. Hamstring injury that really was the major problem in his tryout in the NFL with Minnesota. He comes back from that, signs the contract, and on cue gets a sack.
Sean White for his first field goal try of touchdown Kelowna.
Spent every year in this area.
Little toss inside, and it's read nicely. Jackson Finley on the tackle of Jalen Philpott for lost yardage.
Yeah, it was read nicely. That's exactly what it was, because he's coming up here and he wants to contain, but then watch the redirect when he sees what's developing in front of him. Wants to get after Vernon Adams coming off the edge from the nickel position, but as soon as he sees that underneath toss, redirects and is fast enough, quick enough to pull down Philpott.
Well, the Lions had just driven down and picked up a field goal to get it within a score. They need their defense to respond, as you talked about, and there's a response play and a loss of 7 yards. We get a 2nd and 17 for Vernon Adams in a 4-man rush. Pressure's on him. He steps up, and then he gets it off to Tevin Jones, getting pursued by Joshua Haggerty, but he gets out, run across the 45, still well shy of a first down, and the punting unit will come on.
Well, it's a good defense that plays off. It's more like an umbrella look. The linebackers are even 10 to 12 yards deep here for the Lions, and they're saying to Vernon Adams, by their alignment alone, to dump it underneath. And he does that to Jones, or was going to run himself. Either way, because of the loss on first down, the BC Lions get the mission accomplished.
And the 5th 2 and out for Calgary in this game. They still lead by 7, but they're sending the ball back, although
flags again. Finger
pointing time, and remember, it's a 3rd and 5 here. A more important penalty, if it goes against BC, it could be a Calgary first down. Buck Pearson, Dave Dickinson both want to see which way this one goes. Been some very costly penalties against the Lions in this game.
Yeah, not a whole, not tons of them, just
the
bad timing. Yeah.
Well, no sign of Vassett leaving, so could this be going against Calgary? Punting unit is still on.
Offside. Offside. Defense.
Oh, here we go.
Penalty makes it a first down.
There you go. No, now the punting unit heads off. It is against the Lions. Another tough one to extend a Stampeders drive.
Yeah, Buck Pierce wants to talk to the official about this. You know, by the timing of it, you know, I think the officials in real time were waiting for the replay center to take a quick look at that and make sure they get that call right. But that's the second one costly that keeps Calgary's offense on the field.
A furious Corey McDermott there, the special teams coordinator of the BC Lions. And so as a result of that penalty, Calgary's offense stays on the field, and Dedrick Mills is going nowhere. Brick wall. Pushing him back. 2nd and long.
Ben Haladic out of UBC steps in that hole and puts Vernon Adams in 2nd and long.
Ben Haladic, as you mentioned, from nearby Vernon. Knows this part of the province very, very well. All his football in BC. Played for the T-Birds. College veteran with the Lions D. Pressure coming on Adams. Gets rid of it! And no, a chance too for Philpott, who had fallen down just as the ball was arriving. A shot, but no, and a 3rd down and 10 coming up for Calgary.
That's a blitz from Ronald Kent out of the secondary. He's going to come from this side of your screen, and he gets blocked up nicely by Dedrick Mills. That extra second gave Vernon Adams a chance, and he just underthrows Jalen Philpott.
So this time, Vassett does punt. Silas Bolden is chased back to his 10. 50-yard punt. Bolden to the left, trying to find the edge, gets around it, and has nothing at all, a 2nd and 10. From the BC 29, down by 7. Another 4-man rush. Hicks trying to get to him again. He can't. Wiley can't. And Rourke gets rid of it and completes it to Hatcher. That's up across the 40 and another BC first down.
Hey, I don't mind that.
He's going to escape from that great D line up front from Calgary. They tried to run a stunt and got jammed up. That left a slow response to the contain.
Flag comes out on that completed pass from Rourke, getting it to Hergy Mayala. As mentioned, his first game as a BC Lion, inserted with all the
Legal
injuries to the
contact on the
receiving
receiver,
corps.
Calgary number 25. The gain is greater. Penalties decline. It's first down.
Jaden Grant called on the penalty, but they don't need that penalty. They get the gain by Mayala. Nathan Rourke closing in on 300 yards passing for the 23rd time in his career. That catch by Hergy Mayala has 2 for 24. He had 3 for 40 in 7 games with the Argos last year. The former Stampeder. Here's Rourke rolling out to his right. Heat's coming. Arimolade. He gets to him. Stampeder D-line again. A shared sack there is Arimolade in his first game, first taste of the action since last September.
Let's take a close look at a little bit of the work from Arimolade. Remember I mentioned early the first step off that line of scrimmage when the ball is snapped. Remind me of Cam Wake, former BC Lion, went down to the NFL for a lot of years, was a Pro Bowler down there. He's got that first step that puts tackles in a bind, and that was an example of it on that last play.
Now that's a high praise comparison too. Cameron Wake, one of the best rush ends the CFL's ever seen, the former BC Lion. After the sack and setting up that screen, and that is in the hand of the rookie receiver for the BC Lions. That's Senecal, Nick Senecal, who had a big breakout game last week in Hamilton. His first catch today.
Nice looking player, 24 years old. You mentioned University of Hawaii for Nick Senecal. And what was interesting to me is taking advantage. I asked Buck Pierce about him this week in our conference call, and said he just kept showing up in camp. He just, like, we do a drill and there he was. We do 8 on 8, there he was. You know, it was, he just kept getting in the coach's viewpoint. That's how you make the team.
Carl Meyer with the punt, but yeah, Senecal just couldn't help but be noticed. And he was drafted in the 5th round, 45th overall.
Yeah, that's what's interesting too about this, is that there were 8 wide receivers picked before him. Lions, I think, we got a keeper there.
Kamloops just a little bit north, training camp there in Kelowna. They are truly the BC Lions. And they trail as Vernon Adams goes to work here. He completes one to Clark Barnes, who had a couple of key catches for Calgary late in the first half when they retook their lead.
Yeah, working out there on the corner, and just a timing out by Clark Barnes. Looked like VA wanted to go play action, but either Dedrick Mills went the wrong direction or he did, but it didn't matter because the timing was still there.
Barnes in his 4th year out of the University of Guelph. Late 3rd quarter. Still a 1-score game. Lions have picked up a field goal, but still trailing by 7. And here's Dedrick Mills grinding his way along close to midfield, maybe 4 yards.
By the way, the Lions are going to stay here throughout the week, and they're going to use that time. There's Amar Doman, the owner of the team, is going to use that time to just sort of get together, get the communication at a higher level. TJ Lee, one of the leaders that was a late scratch for this one, told us this week. He said that's been our issue. We've got to communicate better. We've got to be playing on the same page.
Saw Gary Peters there as well, waiting to come back. They've been missing him. Here's Adams, left, deep, Hatcher catches it for Tevin Jones, excuse me, and it is a Calgary touchdown. Tevin Jones just falls in for the last bit, 56 yards. And the Stampeders adding to their lead again and celebrating in style. Soccer style for Tevin Jones.
Penalty kick is good. And even though it's not 30-0, it's a big touchdown. And what a catch. Fighting off double team out there. 2 Lion defenders going for it. And Tevin Jones, big body, he goes up and wins the fight. Tips it to himself. What a catch.
Tevin Jones had a quiet game coming into this one, but makes it a whole lot louder for the Stampeders there. And the point after from Micah Tamney, and you can hear there are Stamps fans in this crowd in Kelowna, as you talked about. One left there. in the open net. And more importantly, the Stamps with Jones and the point after. That's 7 more on the board. 31-17 lead. Here's Bolden as they finally get him tackled around the 40. But yeah, late third quarter, 40 seconds on the clock, 14-point difference. The BC Lions, who dominated Calgary a year ago, have some work to do if they're going to keep up that trend.
They have some work to do, and right now the Calgary defensive line has really settled in.
We've talked about speculating what kind of difference that might make. Last week getting Hutchins back, this week getting that man, Folarin Arimolade. After the Achilles injury last September, has not played, and he felt ready to come back in the first couple of games, but they wanted to be sure. They held him off until this one. Faking to Butler and throwing to Horvath, who just lost his footing and then gets pushed down by Markel Lee after he fell down and got up.
It's interesting how Arimolade there redirected, and this is a little bit of his game. Watch him on this. He'll step up. He makes sure he hops down towards the line of scrimmage so he can take that gap away and then redirect to make sure that Nathan Rourke can't get out and around him. And that's the quickness of Arimolade that can play both. He can play that run inside and he can play contain on Rourke.
Last play, third quarter. BC with the football at their 45 and a 2nd and 6. Rourke looking deep, and it's too far for Hatcher, and Johnson is there. So when the fourth quarter begins, and it's looking a lot better for Calgary right now than for BC as the fourth quarter begins, and the Lions and Carl Meyer in to punt it away in a 3rd and 6, standing inside his 35. Tyreek McAllister backpedals, gets it after a 50-yard punt at the 15 and doesn't go much further. Jacob Bond, who played here in junior football. Bond, former member of the Okanagan Sun, as mentioned, he and Calgary's Kalon Thomas won a junior championship 4 years ago in this field.
Yeah, special shout out to their head coach Travis Miller. 25 consecutive winning seasons for the Okanagan Sun. Of course, those Canadian Bowls between '82 and '06.
Deep look and close for Philpott. Good close coverage right there by Deontay Williams. But Vernon Adams are up by 14 and taking a kill shot right there.
Yeah, trying to get that kill shot with the out and up or the wheel, depending on what happens on the outside with Barnes. No, it's just a little bit of a out and up. Philpott brothers have been making those catches all season long. But Deontay Williams, that short side halfback, just did just enough.
So from the 22 and a 2nd and 10. Adams under pressure and down he goes. The sack for the BC Lions. Levi Bell's the one who's come in and does it, and that's his first sack of the season.
I believe Darnell Sankey is going to get involved here, and he's one of the guys that flushes Vernon Adams. Good pressure and push up the middle. That flushes him over to Levi Bell.
Bassett with the punt down to the BC 40. Silas Bolden picks up about 5 yards.
Operative care. So many people have supported. Jennifer, the wife who's quit her job so she can basically be in full-time care, really does want everyone to know just how much they appreciate their support, but they've still got a ways to go as they try to save their daughter.
Thank you for that, Farhan. Thinking then of Baron Miles, and a reminder too that it's a GoFundMe set up for Ava, and you can go to the Calgary Stampeders website to get more information on how you can donate.
You go right back to linebackers. Great, versatile player for us.
1st and 10, and on a draw to Butler. The Stampeders, with a flag coming out late, have that all wrapped up. Looks like probably a loss of a yard. penalty going against BC.
Holding BC number 65. 10-yard penalty remains first down.
Yeah, no matter how this ends up, the Lions and Buck Pearson, the post-game interviews will be talking about cleaning things up. And it's not just penalties, just little decisions. I go back to the opening kickoff.
Yeah. Where it was like a pooch kick by Calgary.
The Lions really didn't move to it.
And they
Calgary
nearly, yeah,
almost recovered it.
Almost got the ball. See the number of penalties, but as you talked about before, it's also the timing of those penalties that have really cost BC. This one sets up a 1st and 20. Rourke. And no, Damon Webb. And stepping in front of Keon Hatcher. And it's a 3rd and 20 coming up here.
Damon Webb was a Western All-Star at safety, so that's why they wanted to move him back last year.
On the 2nd and long, and Rourke will not get a chance to get rid of it. Once again, pressure from that Calgary defensive front, and it's Miles Brown this time. We've seen Hutchings, we've seen a Rimolade, seen Wiley, and it's Brown picking up the sack there, and now 3rd down and even longer.
Yeah, they have a little stunt going here with Brown going that way and a little twist up front. Just 4-man pressure. Brown comes all the way around the corner. Give a little assist to the secondary there. Looked like Rourke had initial time.
There's Tyreek McAllister for a 50-yard punt. Got some room. He can break it away. He's doing it again. Tyreek McAllister. A touchdown return in back-to-back weeks. No flags. Calgary touchdown.
And that is your backbreaker.
90 yards, went 120 and a missed field goal last week. And Dave Dickinson had talked about the need to have a game-breaking returner. It's been a while since Calgary's had one. He certainly is one.
Well, and we asked Dave if he was thinking about putting him more in the offensive game plan as well, which he really would like to. But boy, he doesn't want to take away from this skill. Great open field speed, back-to-back returns for a touchdown, a missed field goal, and a punt.
And a backbreaker for the Stampeders. McAllister, by the way, his first punt return touchdown of his CFL career. He had one other season before this with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Talking about this earlier, his touchdown came on a missed field goal, and now he has this punt return touchdown.
Yeah, you're not catching him from behind, that's for sure.
See the importance of the return game, like for the Toronto Argonauts last night early against the Saskatchewan Roughriders with Janarian Grant, one of the best in CFL history. Of course, Gizmo Williams ranks at the top, but we've seen the explosive side from McAllister. Saw it with Hamilton 3 years ago.
He's going back-to-back, baby.
He is. And they didn't win the game, but as you were mentioning, that missed field goal return for the touchdown, the Stamps right back, and they ended up losing in overtime to Saskatchewan. Went away to the NFL for a couple of years after that good season he had with the Ticats, his first. This is just season number 2 in the CFL for Tyreek McAllister, in his 3rd CFL return touchdown. This one's made it a 38-17 game. Calgary completely in charge. Kickoff is Bolden up at their 33, but they're in a big hole now. They're down 3 touchdowns, 21 points, and we're in the 4th quarter with 10.5 minutes to go. Nathan Rourke going to be throwing a whole lot more now, and that is Keon Hatcher with the catch.
To speak about Milt Stiegel's opinion, another 300-yard game for Nathan Rourke, which he and Milt does not care about. You don't get the W.
Ahead of Doug Flutie, you see Anthony Calvillo on that list as well, the all-time leading passer, and Flutie, who was an MOP just about every year he was in the Canadian Football League. On that list. And Nathan Rourke, another 300+ passing game, but far more importantly to him is how his Lions are down right now and facing an 0-3 start this season.
And staring at the next opponent being the Edmonton Elks at 3-0 coming in to Kelowna.
Looming is 0-3 versus 3-0 in part 2 a touchdown Kelowna for the BC Lions. And the Stampeders on a shorter week will have Stampede Bowl next week. They will host the Toronto Argonauts at McMahon Stadium. They're trying to hold on to this big lead now and get their first victory of the season. Another 4-man rush. Rourke airing it out down the left, and good coverage there for the Calgary Stampeders. That is Ashton Miller-Melanson, the rookie out of Queens, knocking that one away, and a 3rd and 9 coming up.
Yeah, Miller-Melanson is in perfect position and can't play it any better. And the most important part about this throw, or this play by him down the field, is that he doesn't panic at the end. Ball in the air, ball about ready to arrive. Most rookies, and we saw a BC rookie do it in the first quarter, panic there and grab the receiver.
So the Lions have to punt again. Another good punt by Meyer. And here comes McAllister, and he's not going anywhere this time. No big Raiders start their possession deep in their zone from their 12, but they're up 38-17. Vernon Adams Jr. And off to Eric Brooks to the right. So he turns it up and he gets it to about the 17-yard line. 2nd down ahead.
Yeah, extended running play there for Vernon Adams. It's starting to rain a little bit here. Often does in the summer in the early evening. Vernon Adams wanting to now grind the clock, move it out of their own end as the #1 goal here on this drive. But this is the team in Calgary that I think people coming on into the season thought it's going to be a very good football team that will challenge in the West. But they had a few key injuries that they had to recover from.
Adams again under more heat, and down he goes, and a flag comes out. He is sacked. It's one of the new Lions defenseman lineman, Casey Sales, the one to get to him, the ex-Ticat.
Legal contact on a receiver, BC number 9. 10-yard penalty makes it a 1st down.
But another penalty against BC, another costly one.
Yeah, Vernon Adams never got it out of that pocket. It was on Jalen Philpott.
Adams has thrown for 207 yards, but 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. 1st and 10 after the penalty. And a little draw there to Dedrick Mills. Breaks a tackle, steps back, and just keeps going.
Great effort.
Excellent effort there by Mills to pick up 9 more yards to set up a 2nd and short.
Just love watching these type of runs that, you know, aren't the 50-yarder or anything like that, but it's just great effort, tremendous balance. You know, that toughness to take on those hits. Great vision there to pop outside and then just keep his feet moving, keep grinding, and even that last little push. He had 3 defenders on him and got an extra yard.
Up to 41 yards rushing.
With a 3-score lead.
Yeah, they'd love to grind it out with 26 now, wouldn't they? 6:38 on the clock. Back to him. Keep running, 1st down. Keep running across the 45. They'll be happy to just keep doing that as this clock ticks away. 6 more yards for Dedrick Mills, who is the CFL's rushing leader in 2025.
Yeah, on the all-time list. It's a pretty big name that Vernon Adams is closing in on.
Warren Moon, dominant quarterback with the old Edmonton Eskimos in their dynasty years, late 70s, early 80s. Wasn't around that long, ended up leaving after the 1983 season. But Vernon Adams looking to pass him in the all-time list. Under 6 minutes to go, we may not see, as you talk about, much passing from that Calgary offense. They can keep working it along the ground. That time it's Philpott. Jalen Philpott with the rare running touch, just across the 40 on that
But
second down play, first down play.
Sorry, Rod. What's great about VA right now, though, I think, is he's playing with another step in his confidence level from watching him over the last couple of years. One of the issues was consistency, and whether or not, you know, he would have those big games where we'd go, wow, this guy's ready to go, and then there'd be one or two plays and you'd give it the side eye or shake your head a little bit. He has eliminated those plays. I mean, this is another 26, 25 attempts tonight without an interception. You're now at over 140.
To Brooks. There's a lot of work after the catch, trying to get closer, but not enough for a first down. They'll have to punt it away, 7 yards, after they actually lost one in the previous play. But under 5 minutes to go, and Adams and Calgary still in great shape, up 3 touchdowns.
You know, and that's part of it. It's staying aggressive as the quarterback, but also eliminating those decisions, those 1 or 2 bad decisions. And I think Vernon Adams, you know, when we talked to Derek Moncrief on defense, we talked to him this week and asked him about the confidence level in their quarterback and Vernon Adams, because it matters on defense too. Everybody's looking at that guy for that leadership.
Mark Bassett to punt from his 35. It comes down short, but it takes a good hop for Calgary as Bolden backtracks after taking it, and he does get tackled just inside his 25-yard line. Talking about the World Cup before, but they're behind in this one with under 4 minutes to go. Throwing, caught, and a nice catch too for a first down. And that's Jermaine Jackson, who had a nice touchdown just scrambling into the end zone in the first half.
Well, it's not really an upside, but I'll call it an upside. When you have early injuries in the first couple of weeks, young players get an opportunity.
And Jackson is one of them. 3.5 minutes. Rourke. Rimolade couldn't get to him. Rourke just takes off and slides at midfield, trying to get something out of it. Very mindful of the clock now because they need to get into the end zone in a real hurry.
Jermaine Jackson, one of them. Nick Cynical, another one. I mean, it's experience that they can take advantage of as the season goes on.
Even Kieran Poisson,
Kieran Poisson for sure, who got
in early
tonight, but yeah.
This is the 3-minute warning.
After that injury to Seven McGee in Saskatchewan early on, and then now he's hurt. 3-minute warning is given. 3 minutes to go. Second down and 4. Stepping over the pressure, throwing it deep, got it. Jackson with Delaney Robinson on him. For the Lions, they have to work quickly, and they're close to the Calgary goal line.
Pocket gives him a lane to step up. He climbs the pocket, Rourke, and just drops a dime over the top to Jermaine Jackson, who, well, they're on the 1-yard line anyway, so you can't get any closer. But looked like a horse collar tackle.
Yeah,
looked like a horse collar at the end of it as well.
Ball's at the 1-yard line. It's first down.
So they call Robinson for that, for the horse collar. For Jackson, 5 catches, 137 yards. He had the touchdown in the first half. Got some numbers, the ones that matter most now to the Lions, just cutting into that Calgary lead.
There's the horse collar. Can be jersey or pads from behind.
Xander Horvath in. Short yardage at quarterback for BC. Left side jumps, gets into the end zone for a much-needed Lions touchdown. 2:44 in the clock. Trying to reduce this lead to 14 points.
A little bit of patience from Horvath. Shuffles to his left and then up over the top.
Most teams have a short yardage QB they go to. BC went to this last year with Horvath, and it's worked out well in the situation.
It is, and it's secure, and it's a running back, but
I know where you're going.
If it's not a quarterback, the threat of possibly faking it, dropping back and throwing a pass disappears for the defense.
So they're going for 2, a 15-point difference. trying to make it a 13-point difference. Handing off to Horvath. Well, he got the touchdown as a quarterback. He gets the 2 as a running back. And they have reduced it to a 13-point game. 38-25. 2:43 to go.
Good run at it from that waggle spot for Jermaine Jackson on the big throw down to the 1-yard line. Shaking and baking down the field. Just a little inside move, back to the outside. Scott Robinson going back and forth and into a speed turn. That sets up the touchdown by Horvath. A play later, and then a 2-point convert on the RPO, and it's the give to Horvath underneath.
That took 1 minute 18 seconds. And I know what you're going to say here too. 2:48 on the clock. I'm just thinking it's not only 2 scores, it's 2 touchdowns. Do you even consider something shorter onside now?
Just 2 possessions, but it's the timing. Can you kick it deep, get the 2 and out, and the stop?
Yeah, count on your defense right now.
But you need the ball back twice.
Right.
So it's going to be onside. It looks like for BC.
Yeah, just because not only 2 scores, but yes, both of those scores have to be touchdowns.
If it was just on the other side of the 3-minute warning,
yeah,
probably different strategy.
So Sean White in, and they'll try this onside.
Calgary.
So the Calgary Stampeders call a timeout there because they want to see what the Lions did with their formation, their onside kick team. What did it look like? Were they going heavy one side? Were they leaving 2 or 3 trailers on the other side? Greg Dickinson taking care of special teams. He took a look at it, and now he makes sure he gets the right guys out there. And the front line of blockers, their job is to block, distract anyone trying to recover the ball, and leave it for the next row.
Greg Dickinson, of course, a former head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Looking after specials here with the Stamps. Oh, they go the other way. Sean White, and it is caught by Jalen Philpott. So Hans' team was out there for Calgary, of course, and he had everyone thinking he'd be going to his left, but he turned around. But well done by the Stampeders to get the ball, and a flag is out.
Yeah, left sure hands back there. They left Philpott back there with an offensive lineman. I think it was Christy Nakanu, and see, he's just going to try.
Offside. BC number 34.
Make sure that Jalen Philpott has nobody in front of him, or at least time to make that catch, but it was a little bit deep, and that's where Philpott just easily controlled the football. Calgary football. Now they can run the clock down.
Yeah, it was an offside against BC, but no need for that for Calgary. They take over after Philpott on the kickoff takes it. So they have it down at the 38 of BC. Back to Mills. See if they can just grind out the rest of the way. He's stuffed up there. 2nd down and long. Vernon Adams. You talked about it, Glenn. I mean, he's had days where he's lost, where his passing yards are double what he has now, but managing the football well, making some great plays. 214 in yardage, 3 touchdowns, but no picks.
Yeah, I think he's really found that comfort level, the balance between pushing the ball, sometimes into tight windows, sometimes the deep ball, just like this one. Even though he sees coverage, he has a chance to give his receiver an opportunity to make the big catch. And again, hasn't thrown that interception. And now going back to last year, 140.
Throwing it again, it's complete again.
Just again, confident.
Eric Brooks. Yeah, Adams has looked sharp.
Well, I mean, I know he's a veteran, and you expect your veteran quarterback to be confident, but it just was that little bit of inconsistency that has haunted him throughout his career. And I think that whether it be working with Dave Dickinson for a couple of years, working with this receiving core, the comfort level with his O-line, all that combined, it just feels like he's taken another step in decision making.
Well, it's an old narrative now. We talked about it in the playoff game last year as he hands off to Mills here. Adams fighting for a little more yardage, but wrapped up and taken down by Darnell Sankey, but with a flag out. But for Adams, I mean, it was a bigger story last year coming back to BC. He was the Lion. He threw for over 4,000 yards with BC in 2023, his best season statistically. But when Nathan Rourke was ready to come back, Vernon Adams became expendable and thus ended up with the Calgary Stampeders.
Well, and think about that semifinal last year between these two teams.
Yeah.
Vernon had more yards passing than Nathan Rourke did.
And led them back.
Yeah.
To a tie. I mean, it ended up being a BC walk-off. It was that close.
So it's, you know, it's been building in Calgary, and you can see the growth, even if it's small steps, but those are important.
Illegal low block, Calgary number 19. It's a 10-yard penalty. It remains first down.
And then you have balance in the run game with the last year's leading rusher, Dedrick Mills. Then you add a returner for field position and a defensive line that can get a stop and make it impossible for opposing quarterbacks. You got a chance. You got a team that's going to compete for the division.
And just a couple of minutes away from getting their first win of the season after that 0-2 start, where yes, they weren't wins, but they lost as close as you can come in a walk-off and in overtime, bouncing off the hit, and spinning around and getting it down to the 30 is Dedrick Mills, adding to his totals. That on a 1st and 20.
Timeout, BC.
Well, I just thank you, Kelowna, first of all, as we wrap this up, get down to these last 2 minutes.
By the way, you talked about some people like the Lions staying.
Yeah.
A lot of people in our crew be working the game next week are going to be staying here in Kelowna. How about you?
Well, I'm going to stay and possibly help out in some things here.
Yeah.
But also, if there's an extra day, there is some serious trout fishing in this area.
Yeah.
So, you know, I might just cast a line or two.
Yeah.
But this is a good idea for the BC Lions, especially where they're at right now. For them to stay here until next week when they're going to play Edmonton. They're going to hang out together. They're going to watch video together. They're going to do some barbecues as a team.
Good
get
team
to know
bonding.
each other. Yes, absolutely.
Well, you got, you know, it's just such a beautiful part of this country. 2nd and 16 now. Calgary just trying to put it away. Go back to Mills. Racks up some more yardage. Gets it closer to another field goal shot. But yeah, you get the fishing. You get the beautiful orchards, the nice fruit.
The golf. Oh,
and yes, I do understand this is wine country. I don't know if you plan to do a few tours while you're here.
You did hear about that? Some of the best, honestly, some of the best vineyards in the world are right in this Okanagan Valley.
Well, I want a full report next week.
Well, you know, you might have to do a little tasting.
Oh, yeah,
all the way over here.
Little research. Come all this way. About a little over 4-hour drive from Vancouver, but
I'm surprised you're not staying the entire time yourself.
I'm a little bit surprised myself. I will be back.
But you have some family stuff to do.
Yeah, but I still, the time we've had here, it's been great. 3 more. Mickattamney. He had a 57-yarder in the first half to help him out, and that makes it a 41-28 game. 25, I should say.
So the Lions will drop to 0-3 and have the 3-0 Elks coming to Kelowna, then go on the road to play them again.
Yeah.
Some issues have to be cleaned up quickly by this BC Lion team.
Well, I mean, they the one in Saskatchewan against the defending Grey Cup champions, and they came back and took the lead, and similar to the West Final, the Riders came back and didn't beat them in a close one. More dispiriting, I should think, the way things went in Hamilton when Bo Levi Mitchell on second play from scrimmage threw a long touchdown pass and had another deep. He had several deeper balls against that Lions team, and they knew they had some things to clean up there. And this one too, being back home, yes, a road home game, but still here in Kelowna.
Well, yeah, and we talked about, we saw in street clothes on the sideline Gary Peters and TJ Lee down there, and those are 2 of their veterans. You know, but it's not just one position group. And if you think about the last, well, now it's, what is it, 12 quarters that they've played. And their Okanagan Sun getting it done down there.
Elon Thomas has played for Okanagan.
But, you know, when you think of these quarters, I think only twice have the Lions been in the lead in these 3 games they've played. So they're constantly chasing points.
As they were in this one. Briefly had the lead in the first half before a couple of late touchdowns by Calgary. Little shovel pass inside to Keon Hatcher, but that's not going far. Sean Peterson in there to wrap him up.
But, you know, David Sanchez mentioned it at halftime. You know, is this team, especially on defense, the BC Lions, are they good enough on defense personnel-wise? And that's the first question that has to be answered.
O'Rourke loses the football after he had a hand in his face, and a late flag does come out. Looked like the Calgary defenders got his hand right around Rourke's mask and ended up coughing up the ball. 1:21 to go in this one.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm sure there's a few fans a little nervous about number 12 still out there with this game basically over.
Wiley's hand.
Major foul, roughing the passer, face mask. Calgary number 93, 15-yard penalty, and automatic first down.
Charles Wiley, 93, getting his hand up in there, but all academic now. 1:21 on the clock. Comfortable Calgary lead. Getting set to go to 1-2, and the Lions about to fall to 0-3.
Come back. Here it comes.
Deflected. That was Markel Lee, who thought he had himself a pick. Just
Right
couldn't quite snag it.
Yeah, it looks like this would be coming back either way. Penalty against the Lions. But, you know, when we talked to Dave this week, Dave Dickinson, about
legal block, hands to the face, BC number 64. This is a 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
About his team, and that they'd lost 2 games by a grand total of 5 points. And you could see the confidence was there. He felt really good about his squad. He said, you know, I asked him about the secondary, how he felt about their play. And he said, can be better. And it's amazing how when your defensive line becomes dominant with just 4 guys, how much better the secondary looks automatically.
No question. The screen here to Butler. Has some space. James Butler across midfield. 107 counting now.
And I will say, in fairness to the Lions, this was the best game for their D-line, but not enough. Their secondary is still a concern.
Rourke to pass again. For what it's worth, he's gone over 400. Intercepted. Picked off. Zy Alexander. Do they rule he was out of bounds? Nah, they do. He nearly had his second pick of the day. He'd won in the first half when the Lions were pressing deep in the Stampeder zone, but doesn't get number 2 this time around.
Yeah, that's a tough position to be in, too, as a rookie. 24 years old, out of LSU, in Zy Alexander. They like him. Dave said he likes his cover skills, his long reach. Got a pick tonight.
And they've had injuries in their secondary as well, including, well, Jaden Grant on crutches now in this game. Adrian Green injured in the last one, and Delaney Robinson, number 35, taking over at field corner for him. Rourke is mentioned for what it's worth. 406 yards passing right now. Into the final minute, though, of what appears to be a loss. McInnes. Not a lot of touches in this one. Got hurt in Hamilton. We weren't sure if he'd be able to play in this game.
But yeah, this defensive line is, for Calgary, is the real deal.
And they've got the Stampede Bowl coming up. They're back home against the Argos. There's Senecal with that breakout performance in Hamilton last week with a couple of touchdowns. Hasn't had much mention in this day.
This is just, let me show you one thing real quick. This game is over, but that is Clarence Hicks. And what I talked about earlier in the half, that sometimes they will spy him like that.
He's so athletic.
Well, when you have a Rimolade coming hard off the edge, and then Hutchings or Brown or Wiley with the push at defensive tackle in that interior spot, and then you spy with Clarence Hicks and that great acceleration and speed, it just gives this defense a chance with just those 4 guys to give a bunch of different looks. And Bob Slowick did it a bunch last year. It was really successful. Former coordinator with the Browns, the Broncos, the Packers, and now the Stampeders.
Yeah, won a Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys. Working back with Dave Wanstead and Jimmy Johnson's staff. End zone lock. Touchdown. Late as it is for Hergy Mayala. Hasn't had a touchdown in a while. Didn't have one last year with the Argos. First drafted by the Calgary Stampeders in 2019 in the first round out of Connecticut. The Montreal native has a touchdown with the BC Lions.
Yeah, I've spent a couple of years with Montreal, been a couple of years with Calgary, and is a big pickup with all the injuries that we've talked about at length in this game in the receiving corps for the Lions. Veteran receiver, can play a lot of different spots. The guys out again, Javon Catoy, Stanley Berryhill, as you mentioned, Brisson.
Seven McGee, who they plan to use in the offense this year.
Yes, and that's big return yards too there.
Silas Bolden had stepped in as a returner with that injury to Seven McGee. So they go for 2 again to make it a 1-score game with not much time left. So they do get it. And if you believe in miracles, they get it to an 8-point ball game, but they need the onside kick and then a Hail Mary. That's pretty much it.
So you need to Hail Mary twice? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, it's so hard to judge when you've got a 2-score lead and you don't want to let anyone in behind you, so you're playing a little softer defensively. But you're saying there's a chance.
And of all this, 3rd most passing yards in a game for Nathan Rourke in his career, but comes at a time when they get down so far they've had to throw it a lot. He's 30, if you just look at the stats, 32 of 42, 462, 3 touchdowns and 1 intercepted. But I'm sure for 12, competitive as he is, that means absolutely nothing to him right now.
So on this onside kick, Dejon Brissett will be the guy that's in charge of making the catch. And that front line right there has got to take out any of the guys coming down to try and knock it out of bounds.
So they dribble it along, but it is covered nicely by the Stampeders to put this one away. And that'll be it. Vernon Adams Jr. in Calgary can just about put this thing to bed with the ball with an 8-point lead and 20 seconds only on the clock.
Nailed down a couple times and it's game over.
Part 1, touchdown Kelowna. Part 2, next week, next Saturday, a week away, when BC will host the 3-0 Edmonton Elks. The Calgary Stampeders didn't have a win until today, but they got one now.
And Vernon Adams Jr. gets win number 50 of his career.
And he gets it in Kelowna, BC, in the heart of the Okanagan. Some congrats to some handshakes with some old teammates. Speaking of old teammates, Buck Pierce used to